Hi, welcome to Shelf Starters. Today we're continuing our Canterbury Tales readings with the part 2, or I think we've called it Group B.
Group B, yes. Which is quite a substantial group, Rosie.
Yeah, there's a lot of stories in this one, a lot more than the last set. They're a bit shorter so that we can fit more in. And a bit of a mix.
Yes, some are better than others. So what we've got here, we've got the Man of Law's Tale, which that's the first one. So obviously the lawyer.
Yeah, that's probably the one that stood out to me the most.
Well, that's a big tale. That was about constancy, faith in Christianity, trust in God. Anyway, we'll go into it in a moment. But yeah, that was quite a substantial tale. Then it was followed by the Shipments Tale, which was about wealth and power and the marital story.
Fun, light.
Actually, I didn't even understand it, to be honest. I didn't reach the end of it. I get the point of that. I went, what was the point of that? Anyway.
I think that is just that women spend men's money.
Well, it just seemed a fruitless exercise. Anyway, then there was the Prioresses Tale, which was the one that stood out to me because of little anti-Semitic story, which really was interesting to me because, having just been recently talking a lot about The Merchant of Venice with various people, it was really kind of cool to read the Prioresses Tale and go, all right, wow, that was a century old tradition. And only a short little tale, but quite a punchy one and sad. And then the weird two little numbers, the Tale of Saint
Chaucer's one, where Chaucer becomes a character in the story and is useless at telling the stories. Like he's mocked at how bad he is. Yeah.
Oh, that's so boring. And we're like, yes. And then the Melibee one, which I didn't understand. There wasn't a story.
So, okay, because so in our version, which is the translation, the translators decided not to include this one. So this is a summary of the story.
Right.
It was apparently extremely lengthy and extremely boring. And it's supposed to be considered pretty much unanimously as the most boring story of the Canterbury Tales. So the translators just decided not even to keep it in.
So that was a little trick because they had the title there. I was all ready and then went, all right, there's no actual story.
Yeah, and then it's actually 2 pages of just a summary. But it seems like, I think because it's kind of like a debate, it's not really much of a story in the traditional sense.
No.
So
anyway, those two were just they seemed extremely out of place. But anyway, then we went to the Monk's Tale, which was just a whole series of tragedies, and I thought
little snippets,
not very interesting as a story.
Well, I liked the parts where I recognized the people, but when I didn't know the story, it was a bit meh.
It was just way too fragmented. So anyway, and then the Nun's Priest's Tale, which is probably one of the most famous ones, I think, of Chaucer.
Yeah, I think so. With where it's what do you call it when there's the animals?
The beast.
It was like a fable.
The beast fable. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, where we've got the fox, the rooster, and all the hens. Yeah, it's kind of it was a strange little tale, but it's a well-known one, that one. But the one that stood out to me, so it's interesting, you thought the Man of Law's Tale, the one about faith, and
yes, because I quite liked it because it was a bit of an adventure tale, but also the amount of times that it's she got into this about Queen Constance,
yes,
and she gets sold off into marriage, and then all these awful things constantly about awful mothers-in-law.
The Sultan's mother was
horrible.
What was that? We'll just pretend to turn Christian and then
kill them all
and then kill everybody. Oh my God, she was a shocker. She was
a lot of very, very close scrapes that Constance gets into, and then is saved by God. So she just sort of magically gets out of things all the time. And but it was quite fun to see that happen. Pretty brutal, quite violent.
Very brutal.
Like this one.
This complete schism between Christianity and Muslim.
Everything else.
Interesting because when I read Chaucer at school, and very limited reading, essentially we just did The Wife of Bath, and I loved it. But we never, I don't remember anyway, really talking about the Christian
religion.
No.
I mean, they are on a pilgrimage.
Yeah, which we did, of course, deal with that. But that was it. We just went, yes, they're on a pilgrimage, the end.
Yeah.
Then we moved on to the actual storytelling and the characterization and of the wife of Bath. But when you read the stories as we are now, it's just all about Christianity versus the rest of the world.
Yeah, and it's pretty rough against the rest of the world. It's
terrible.
Other religions are just like
dismissed.
Yeah,
completely,
but brutally,
and very brutally. But that's why I the one that resonated for me was the Prioresses Tale. I mean, it shocked me, and it was so awful.
Yeah, I had to be like, "Whoa, did I read that?"
I mean, just that whole description, where that description of the killing of the little martyr boy.
Yeah, that's what I highlighted as well. This cursed Jew grabbed him and held him, slit his little throat, and cast him in a pit.
Yeah, and I love this use of the diminutive, his little throat, slit his little throat, so that we feel so dreadfully, you know,
for the boy, but not for the cursed Jew. Yeah,
the cursed Jew, which just reminded me totally that was Shylock, obviously. You know.
Yeah.
So that story to me was the one that was the standout, because I guess my understanding of that deep-seated anti-Semitism in storytelling, I hadn't appreciated that. I hadn't understood that, and then I read this, and it shocked me completely.
Yeah.
So to me, that was the biggest of the stories, I thought.
Mm-hmm. It's weird as well with the boy singing through his like slit throat.
Oh, yes, it was. And well, it was all about the power of the meek and the vulnerable and the weak, and so just that power on,
and him being pure and all that.
Yes, and even the whole weird, the pearl growing on the tongue.
Yes, which very weird.
Called a grain, and you just had to work out that was a pearl, as in oyster, as in pearl, as in grain.
Yes, touched the child's tongue and took away the grain, and he gave up the ghost so peacefully. Blah blah blah. Yeah.
Anyway, I found that story
very weird,
quite, but powerful story, obviously. But I was going to say the other one I knew really well. Well, I don't know really well. That's not true. But I know of, because the Nun's Priest's Tale, the Chanticleer, the rooster, we have a column here in Australia in the finance section called Chanticleer, which is
that's why I never read it.
Yeah, it's a snippet of gossip about people in the corporate sector and finance particularly, and it's literally. And I've always wondered where that really came from. And I mean, I knew it was French, and I knew there was a symbol of a rooster, but I didn't really understand that it was from here.
Not sure why you'd want to name your column after that. I don't think this rooster was very impressive.
No, but it's to do with the singing, the clear voice, the singing.
Oh, okay. So not really that.
It's not really about the characteristics other than that.
Okay.
Which is a good thing. But
so it was very much based on the Reynard the Fox story as well.
Yeah, yes. So there's a real, I mean, it's very, very French, this one, isn't it?
Yeah. I'd say so. And like all about prophecy and dreams and things like that.
Yeah.
Which it's very much of the time. We haven't done any animal stories yet, but that's coming up as like a whole section. Remember, we had the talking animals section that's coming up.
Remember how I'm not a fan.
So I think that these are going to get more common later on in our readings.
Them and me, we don't go. I mean, owning a fable, I guess, is slightly different. Well, no, I was just thinking Animal Farm. I could cope with that sort of, but actually, still only sort of. I don't love it. I actually just prefer.
Animal Farm was slightly different though. That was the other kind of thing.
An allegory.
Yeah, allegory. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
Not like a fable, but an allegory. Yeah.
No, I've never been a fable fan, because it just annoys me, the whole idea that you have talking animals and that they teach you stories. It just, I don't know.
I don't mind. I don't love it, but I don't think I mind it. I do have Aesop's fables ready to read when we get to the talking animals. It's like background reading.
Stomach down your throat.
Yeah.
Okay, fair. Yeah, but anyway, it's not my favourite thing, and it wasn't my favourite story.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
But skipping back then to the Monk's Tale.
Yes.
what I did like is that I knew more of these people because we have been reading this. So now I know them.
That's right.
So we had Nebuchadnezzar.
Yes.
Who came in up in Judas.
Yep.
And Holofernes, I think, as well, was in here.
Yes, definitely.
Yep. So thank you for that, Judith poem. I don't know who that is.
And then other people that we all know.
Oh, no, and then also from my reading of Dante recently, Count Ugolino as well. Where, he starves to death. And there's a really great, it's one of the best parts of Inferno when they're talking about him. And he, there's like this really subtle suggestion that he ate his children while in prison, when he's starving to death. It's really, really cleverly worded in Dante. So I did know that story because that one had stood out in Inferno before. So that was cool. But then some of the like Roman Emperor stuff, I don't actually know as much about it as I would like to.
No. Well, it's sort of like a little reminder of what you could read up on. Yeah.
Julius Caesar, obviously. Yeah. So there's some that were like,
Zenobia.
Didn't recognize it. Others not so much.
Yeah, no. Samson, of course, we know. Adam, of course, we know. Adam got a very short part, didn't he?
What does that say about Adam, really?
It was just a stanza, pretty much. So, but then Samson got a little more, which is good.
And I did also just read the full story of Samson in the Bible.
Quite interesting, that story. I quite like that one. Yep.
Quite upsetting.
Yeah. But then Hercules got a bit of a Guernsey, which was good.
Also good. Yeah, so some of them I knew. It's pretty fun.
Right, it was a fun little game of recognition.
Yeah.
But
I think isn't there this suggestion that that he had written this separately? It was basically just throwing in some other work.
Well, that's how it felt, to be honest.
Yeah, like I need to tell a story here.
This doesn't really
some other writings.
Yeah, I was like,
and then I like what I'm finding the kind of most fun is the framing narrative for the whole Canterbury Tales, where like the characters interrupt and say what they think about the story.
They butt in and comment, and they give a little commentary on it.
Like for this one, it's like we've had enough of these tragic stories. Stop now.
Yeah, that was boring, and let's go. Yeah. Or I like to like be critical of each other's use of rhyme. Yeah, all sorts of things go on here, and that you're right. That's the fun part. That little arc does make it really fun.
I think so.
Yeah.
So Group C.
Yes, I can't wait.
Yes, because we're finally getting into the
Wife of Bath. Yay. Been waiting for all this time.
In fact, actually, I think we're reading now. I'm going to have to check back through my own schedule, but I feel like actually we might be reading 3 groups in this one. Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah. Group C, D, and E, because Group C is only one story.
Okay.
They're much smaller groups for some reason.
So we're reading all the way to the end of E?
Yes, I think so. Yeah. Yeah, because we've only got 2 more weeks. We're halfway through.
Okay. Ooh, okay.
Yeah. So we've got the Physician's Tale, the Pardoner's Tale, Wife of Bath, Friar, Summoner, Clerk, and Merchant. Which will be quite good, actually. I don't know. Yeah. Well, that'd be good for me to learn about. I haven't heard of I haven't read the Summoners or anything about it, so that's good. Yeah, I don't know much about any of these. The only 2 that I know. And also Pardoner, actually, I know about. I'll be the Physician. That'll be interesting. Yeah. And then the last bit's more going to be about how it all kind of wraps up. Yeah, no. After that. No. So then I have my vlog that I haven't edited yet still, but I will put that up at some point before we get to the end of the Canterbury Tales, so we can see what Canterbury actually looks like now, which would be quite nice. I think I'd really. I look forward. Yeah. I really look forward to that, Rosie, because I've never. And then we can maybe decide which one our favorite. We could choose a winner. Should we choose a winner? Yeah. And get the listeners to choose their winner, perhaps. Yeah. Do a vote. Yeah. Do a vote. Sure. We could do a poll if I can work out how to do that. Yeah, a poll of what the best one is, because it might be different from what the most famous one is. Yeah, and then we're following this with some of the other stuff by Chaucer as well, like other little verses and things like that. We've got a week on that. So from the actual back to the Norton book. Yeah. So good. That'll be cool. Yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I like, yes, there's a lot in here that is not really well suited to this time period. Like, we've had a lot of anti-Semitism, a lot of misogyny, that sort of thing. But, you know, it kind of, you know, it's okay, I guess.
Well, it's part of history, and it's something
History. Yeah, you have to take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
But yeah, I still find it very interesting. So
yeah, absolutely. It's, well, I think, yeah, we need to understand where things come from.
Yeah.
And sadly reflect on how much we haven't moved forward in many ways.
oh yeah, that's deep. Yep.
Well, that's what's always interesting about literature, don't you think? You read things
Yeah.
well, that's not that far removed, really.
Yeah. So yeah, no, I enjoyed it. Actually, you know what, the Man of Law's story tale.
Yes.
Louis was telling me about a story in his church at his place in France at the moment that he was visiting, where it was like there's some boat hanging up there in a picture, like in the ceiling, and I was like, what is this boat in the middle of your church? And he said it was a princess in a shipwreck who was saved by God, and so now they have this boat.
Is it Constant?
And I was like, oh, is it that? No, it's not the same one, but I thought that would be cool. It did make me think of
so good if it was, wouldn't it?
It would have been pretty cool. But no, I think because that was different. That was like her going off to the Sultan and stuff. So that was like not the same.
Yes.
But yeah, being saved at sea by God is probably not unique to the one woman in literature. But yeah.
But that sea trip was intense, wasn't it? It was over a year.
Yeah, there's I think there was two.
yeah, and she just kept being, that was her lot, like, oh, off you go. And then I like the ending, and then she didn't have to go anywhere.
She was able to stay.
Yeah, I was like, okay, good. The poor woman.
Where does it say?
It made me laugh. I mean, it wasn't meant to be funny, but it just did make me laugh, because I just like,
to Rome to fame, this holy soul at last. Her adventures were now safely past.
Yes.
Yeah.
P.S. Thank heavens. Yeah.
Thank God. Yeah. Send me no more to lands in heathen blindness.
Yeah. I can't be doing it any more times. She's over it.
Please leave me alone. Yeah.
Much like I think you feel at the end of a very long cruise.
No, we loved our cruise.
We were on a very short one, Rosie. Only a few days. I think if you were on them for months on end, you know, there's
exhausted. Yeah. Maybe. All right. Well, yes. Let us know if you have read those particular stories that we covered, and what you thought of any of them. Were there any particular favorites from this set? We would love to hear from you. And as always, thanks for watching. Mum's throwing her books around.
And I'm excited.
Really wants to show.
I'm excited about Wipe and Bath. So
yeah, please join us next time so we can finally get to the Wipe and Bath together. But yeah, thanks very much for watching, and see you again next time. Bye.